I got a call yesterday asking, hey, Bill, I'd really like to start entering in my monthly data now as we go throughout the year so that when we get to the end of the year, my model for next year is already set and ready to go. But I don't want to change the model that we created for this year. How do I create a copy that I can use to prep next year? Well, it's actually really easy, and that is this week's Planning for Profit Minute. To make that copy, right, the question you have to ask is, what are you trying to accomplish? If your goal is to start to actually enter your expenses in throughout this year, so when you get to the end of the year, next year's model is pretty much ready to go, all you're going to do at that point is roll your data over to the next model year. Now, I know in working with some of you that not everybody actually goes in and rolls their data over to the next year, and I encourage you to do that. All right, I can see at any given time, looking right here at the top, I'm looking at the standard business model for 2025. In my particular copy, I've got data, individual years going all the way back to 2018. And I can go back and look at any of those. Right? We can use that same feature to give us a copy to work on for next year. And so the way that you roll that data over to the next model year is I'm simply going to go into Setup, and then I'm going to go into Company Models. And when I'm in Company Models, I can at this point see all the models that are set up for my particular company. So I have my standard business model. Here's the individual years that I just spoke of, 2018 all the way up through 2025. And if I want to start making I want to make a model for 2026. So as I go through 25, I simply go in and update my fixed overhead, my variable overhead, and maybe my hours. Well, I can simply do that here. So all I need to do to roll this over to 2026 is simply click on the three action dots right over here on the right-hand side. And it's the three action dots for the actual title, the model name, not the individual year, right? I don't want to click on any of these. I want to click on the three dots for the model name itself. So in this particular case, I'm going to click on the three dots there. Under the drop-down, the bottom option is going to be Activate the Next Model Year. You simply click on that, and it's going to give you a warning. Hey, you sure? Do you want to roll 2025 into 2026? You simply say yes, right? And when I confirm that, it'll go through, crunch all the data, and there we go, right? It says your data has now been rolled, and I can see I now have 2026 down here. Now, remember that active column that's there, right? Wherever the green dot is, what that's next to, in this case, 2025, that's the model the software is actually using. And so for your day-to-day operation or work in the software, you want to stick with the current year. But now at the end of the month, I'm coming in here and I want to just update the last month's numbers. All I need to do is simply come in here, put my green dot down next to 2026. I can now see right up at the title, I'm now looking at the standard business model for 2026. So we're already there. Anything I do in here now will only apply to 2026. So I can go into cost input. I'm going to go into each one of my expenses, right? And that's one of the reasons why I like when I create my model to actually use general ledger numbers. If you use general ledger numbers in your P&L, in your accounting software, and you use them in here, the beauty is they will pretty much both be in the same order. Now, all you need to do is to go into those, right? So Christmas, that's going to be a monthly one or an annual expense, right? It's something that you're going to do at a certain time. I don't really need to go in and look at that one, right? But man, I'm putting money aside for my vacation, right? So I've got that one in there. I've got monies there, right? Any of these other ones that are monthly, right? Let's say my advertising here is a monthly. I had it in there at $1,500 per month. All I need to do is next to that item, hit the three dots on the right-hand side, and I want to edit that particular item. When it opens up, now here's the thing to do. Even though it's set to monthly, what you're going to do is you're simply going to change this now to manual. And when I go to manual, a couple of things are going to happen, right? Number one, all that detail that you entered in will stay there, but now all those fields become editable. And so let's say in January, you actually spent $2,000. You just simply say, accept, you're good to go, right? You just updated advertising for the month of January. Now, February comes up. You're going to go through each of these again. When I get to that item, I'm going to go ahead and edit it. When it opens it back up, I don't have to worry about January. It's already set to manual because I did that last month. You only have to do it once. Now I can simply come right down here to February, and in February we spent $2,500. You accept that one. It's that quick. Literally, you're going to go through this list of your fixed expenses, go down that list, just compare it to your P&L, and you will go in and do your variable expenses. Now, variables, again, you're not going to change those all too much because typically a variable expense is an annual amount. Now, if you start to see that what you're spending this year versus last year is quite a bit higher or lower, well, you could go and adjust that number. Otherwise, variables, you might want to just wait until December and make the one entry at that point in time. That's it. The beauty of this is now when you get to next year, the end of the year, your model is pretty much up to date. Now you just need to deal with those couple of exceptions, maybe an expense that you had last year that you're not going to incur next year, or what are those expenses that you didn't incur last year that you're going to this year, and you edit those couple of items. You're pretty much ready to go. Your model is up to speed. And that's it. Now, just keep in mind that when I'm done updating my data, I want to go back to my working model, right? So come back in here, go into company models, and I'm going to put my green dot next to the 2025 again. And make sure I see 2025 up here, because every time you log out of the software, when you come back into it, it's going to be at the same model that you left last time working on. So if you leave it on 2026, you're going to come back to it, and it's still going to be on 2026. That's it. We hope you found that helpful. And that is this week's Planning for Profit Minute.